So in 2022, I was a student at University of Waterloo. I was looking for co-op, which is basically like a 4-month work experience. And during an interview, I was asked, how would you teach kids compassion? And I basically spoke about how I think my earliest memory of learning compassion was from my mom, who put a little earthworm in my hand when I was a kid and taught me about composting and how, like, what we eat, the scraps go back to the soil, and then the earthworms help decompose it, and then new plants come. So it sort of taught me about the circle of life and how I need to be grateful and how I need to care about other humans and other beings apart from myself. And the interviewer was like, whoa, okay, you don't really need this assistant job, but come back later. And so I went back, and it was a swanky office in Kitchener. It was in the Communitech building with like Google and Tesla, and all the startup bros were there. They had slides instead of stairs and like these glass walls with like markers everywhere. And he basically gave me a marker and he was like, how can you help grow 50% of the region of Waterloo's food by making sure youth lead the food system and localize it? And I said, easy. And I was just, I kind of had, I'm a systems thinker and I kind of had an idea, but it was kind of fake it till you make it as well. So I made a systems map of all the different stakeholders. Mind you, I was also doing a food course on the region of Waterloo at the time, and I had experience working with youth and building movements before. So I made all of this, and then he basically said, okay, start a company. And I was like, what? I'm in my third year of university. I've never run a business before. He was like, no, don't worry, we'll help you out. And that was the birth of Nurture. So Nurture's goal was to make every school a food forest, and we basically built gardens, community gardens in schools, and taught kids how to grow their own food. Because kids and humans in general, especially Gen Z, we can name 100 brands, but we can't name 100 species, especially those growing around us. Even though I'm into ecology and into, actually, I think I can't name 100 species, but never mind. So that was the goal of how to introduce land stewardship to kids. And to do that, we came up with this plan of how we're going to collaborate with the school district board, with the schools, with the region, with the not-for-profits in the region, working with youth and food, and then sort of build out this curriculum. My amazing friend Jackie, she was the co-founder, and she's amazing with kids. And I sort of like systems thinking and business development, and I was responsible for building the public-private partnership and fundraising and doing all of that while managing a university degree, another job, because I had to pay rent. And this was more of like just receiving funding, but all the funding went to the project. We weren't, founders don't get paid, it's like a known fact. And on top of that, I was in the climate movement. So I was juggling all these things and working on Nurture. And I wasn't even in the country. I was also in India working on projects in India, consulting with the government. And I was working on on a project for the region of Waterloo government. So the first year we had a pilot. So we won a grant of 1,500 from Greenhouse, which we used to build some of the gardens. Greenhouse is a social impact incubator at the University of Waterloo that supports social entrepreneurship. So we were building these gardens in the schools, and then Jackie was managing the kids and the team, and then I was kind of dealing with the back end. But it was a lot to start a not-for-profit from scratch with just 2 people. And it was fantastic because we impacted over 300 kids in the first year, and then the program got renewed for the second year. But as you know, like, if you're a not-for-profit founder or you work in the not-for-profit space, suddenly out of nowhere they'll start asking for metrics, for key performing indicators, for monthly report, for annual report, for quarterly report, for like your GST number, for your not-for-profit registration. And all of this was happening, and we were doing it, mind you, we were doing it, and we were scaling well. So 2022 pilot successful. 2023, from 3 schools we expand to 15 schools. And then I was working on the project a little bit. I organized a bunch of events because I love bringing people together. We organized a food convening, and I connected with a lot of dear elders and farmers and gardeners in the region and a lot of kids, and we got everyone together to like envision what we want the region of Waterloo's food system to look like, and that's what we did. And then 2023, because I was managing, like doing university, working another job to pay rent and my bills, and doing this job, and I was not at all taking care of my health, I had to step down from everything in July 2023, because I got hospitalized and I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which is a psychosomatic nervous system dysregulation, chronic pain disorder, where your whole body, it's like, imagine like red fire ants all over your body, like 24/7 without any break, and like a headache where you feel like your head is going to explode. So I had to take a semester off from university. First I was at home, and then I came back to Waterloo. I decided to completely change my life. I quit drinking, I quit smoking weed, I completely had to change my diet. I got into meditation, but at the same time, like, we had to hire a team for like the next round. So I found an amazing person. She's a herbalist, she's a permaculture expert, and she's honestly such an important member of the Waterloo region food community, Nicola, who basically became the manager director of Nurture. So Nurture was in beautiful hands. Honestly, we couldn't ask for a better person to take over and lead the program. So Nicola worked with a bunch of co-op students and in Seeds of Diversity, and then scale the program, and it was super successful. We came on the news, people were making like videos about us, and we were all set to expand. But and at this point I sort of fully backstepped from the program, but life has other plans, right? So basically Nurture was under the Smart Waterloo Region Innovation Lab, and they were run by the region of Waterloo. But there was some funding issue, there was some confusion, and basically there was no, suddenly, like, all the books we thought were fine, but there was a great error in accounting and budgeting, which led to the program deciding to be shut forever. And yeah, it was very unfortunate and really sad and like heartbreaking the way it happened. The region could have done it better. I felt really guilty, even though it wasn't exactly my fault, because I hired, like, I got like the region to hire Nicola, and like she lost her job, and then all the co-op students lost their jobs, and then all the students who were so passionate about the gardens, they it's kind of frozen right now. But there are other opportunities. So Greenhouse, which I mentioned before, they have like a youth climate fund with the region of Kitchener, and so some garden work is happening through there. But I want, like, any youth listening to this, I don't even know if any youth are listening to this, that'll be crazy, of how to don't make the same mistakes I made. So number one, really take care of your health, because I didn't do that. Make sure like you're able to balance school and working on your project, and always ask for help and communicate. Find a good mentor who supports you but also guides you and doesn't push you overboard. I had an amazing mentor, but at the same time, at times I felt like there was dissonance, like we weren't on the same page, and that led to a lot of stress. Always have it in writing. Make sure you have NDAs and contracts and like all the procedures on paper. And especially, there might be a chance you will be a vendor if you're getting bursary or funding from the government, and that's going to take a couple of months. So make sure you have enough cash flow or like some savings to work with, because we were high and dry with like no money and working for free and like feeling stressed all the time. um, and finally, document everything that you do, like create a movement. So make videos, post on LinkedIn, communicate. You need to get people invested in your project. um, and yeah, and you need to have a strong foundation if you're going to be an entrepreneur or if you're going to lead the project. For me, I had all the resources, I had the knowledge, I have the system skills, but I did not have a strong foundation. Like my body broke basically in this process. So, the moral or takeaway and why I'm sharing this is because I know there are a lot of budding entrepreneurs out there like me who are passionate about a problem that they want to solve and how they can help their community and the people around them and improve the lives of people. But make sure you're taking care of yourself as well. In my case, I was trying to solve a problem outside to distract myself from the problem happening inside, which was my biggest learning from this whole process. Nurture is a fantastic project, it is viable. If any student ever decides to take it forward, I have all the resources for you. My priorities change because like made me experience what I experienced to make me realize my true calling is a health and wellness business. So that's the direction I'm headed in now. But I thought this was an important story to share because it was such a crazy part of my life. I was winning pitch competitions. I got to speak to the founder of Reddit. I got to travel the world. I was meeting Canadian youth from across the country because of this beautiful project. Because food is the art and traditional knowledge, and the culture of food is being lost, and we really need to preserve it. Because I keep saying food is the universal love language and food is medicine. But yeah, all the best, lots of love to you, and bye bye.